Everyone, this is the third week in our manual training, and we have a little change of itinerary tonight. Normally you were going to hear Dr. Dean, but instead this is Dr. Quila. He had a prior engagement that we couldn't change, so he's going to do his Patch Basics 3 next Thursday for you, and I'm doing Patch Basics 4 for you guys tonight. So we just kind of switched it around for you. Can everyone see my screen?
We can see it.
Okay. I have Lily Fuller from corporate here with us. I want to
Hi,
say
everybody.
hi, Lily. And Dr. Steve Haltewanger, Head of Health and Science. Say hi, Dr. Steve.
Hi, how are you?
Alrighty, let's get going. This is quite a full presentation, and we will, as usual, take a break at about 1 hour. And remember, you can raise your hand, and Lily will monitor that, and you can also write out questions. Reminder, do make your questions particular to the presentation, if you will. Any others you can send to lifewavecalls@gmail.com. But try and keep your questions on focus tonight so that we can get through the presentation. So, okay, here is a basics about YH, Silent Night, and SP6 Complete. So what is YH? Well, it's our two-patch system, which is, whoa, what was that? Did you drop your, was that you, Dr. Steve?
I don't know, I didn't do anything.
Oh, how funny. It sounded like something exploded almost. It is a two-patch system that consists of patches that have a signal in it that says make more glutathione, and the other one says make more carnosine. Anti-aging is the focus, as you will see, because I'll go through what glutathione and carnosine are. But they basically offer the body a signal that says to do that if the body needs to. The body always wants to go back to normal and balance, and it will do that as it needs to. By the way, if you have trouble understanding me, because I know there are some people on from other countries where English is not your first language, just send Lily a note and she will slow me down. So, make more carnosine, make more glutathione. Well, what is that? These are factors that our bodies make, and we make lots of it when we're young, and we make a lot less as we get older. And glutathione is made of amino acids, glycine, glutamic acid, and cysteine. Isn't that a gorgeous molecule up there? I just had to put that picture in because I thought that was so neat. That's what's inside our body, not in color, I'm sure. Go ahead.
I'd like to point out that cysteine is the rate-limiting amino acid for glutathione production. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. And this means that if you go too long without food, your cysteine levels will drop and your glutathione levels will drop. Certain foods, as you have here, have cysteine in them, and I would also include whey protein, W-H-E-Y protein, as a very high source of cysteine. Now, I made a point the other night on one of the calls that, for example, if you're using a cold preparation, let's say you have the flu, and you use a cold preparation, many of them have Tylenol in them, or acetaminophen. Sorry, I don't want to use Tylenol. The word is acetaminophen. That is the generic compound. This actually depletes glutathione levels very rapidly in the body. And there have been cases of people with the flu, young people, who didn't eat for 2 or 3 days, stayed in bed, just drank some soup or had some water, took lots of cold preparation medication, and wound up with liver failure because their glutathione levels dropped so fast. And glutathione is made in very high levels in the liver the kidney and the brain. But the liver is your main organ with high glutathione levels. And what occurred is they wound up getting liver failure after 72 hours
Wow.
of poor diet just because they did not have enough cysteine in their diet. And so I'm just making the point that your glutathione levels are very sensitive to dietary changes. And so you should at least be aware of these foods that you have listed here, and particularly whey protein, which I would add on the
I'll
future
add that.
slide.
Yeah, I've got myself a note here. And
Okay.
could you send me any reference you have on the cold prep info? And we'll add that to this too. I think it's
I'd have to
important.
look it up here, but okay, if I
Okay.
can find it, I will.
Yeah, if you can find it. One of the things I want to point out for the next 3 or 4 slides, we're going to go through what foods build up this protein called glutathione, and what amino acids then and where they're found, such as in this slide, what foods. If you will notice, they are in lots of veggies and wheat germ and oats, which are grains. But of course they're also found in animal protein such as eggs, poultry, and that whey, milk, in other words protein from cow's milk, or I guess any kind of, is whey just cow's milk or could it be goat milk too? It could be goat milk. But anyway, my point is a vegetarian might have to pay particular attention. Dr. Steve?
Yes.
Are you moving around? Because I can hear a lot of background noise, like maybe your
Okay,
headphones.
Maybe my headset.
Or just mute yourself. That'll
Okay.
work. Yeah. So vegetarians are going to have to be very careful and make sure that they get enough of these particular amino acids, because I know I've seen a lot of vegans that thought they were eating good, but they were not getting enough protein from the veggie sources that they were eating, such as all of these here that you'll see. Here's glutamic acid found in the following foods. This one over here on the left is a fish type of meal. It's not very clear. But fish, eggs, and of course green veggies here like broccoli and spinach, kale, chard, those kinds of things. Then there's glycine, found mostly in fish, in poultry, and in beans. This is a 3-bean salad with veggies thrown in. And of course milk and cheese, so dairy products. So again, vegetarians have to be very mindful that they are getting these 3 amino acids in their foods if they are not eating animal products. So what does glycine, for instance, do? Well, besides help create glutathione, it's very useful in the absorption of calcium, a necessary mineral for good cellular metabolism, as Dr. Steve went through on some of his slides. It also helps muscles and retards degeneration of muscles. So glutathione plays a role then in muscle health. It's also found to help pituitary imbalances. So if you are low on glycine, you may very well have some pituitary imbalances simply because of that, because you can't make glutathione without proper amounts of glycine. It's found in skin, connective tissues, and nervous system. Again, brain, right? Nervous system. And what do we see when people use the glutathione system with their patching the head protocols? We see changes, don't we? We see changes in skin with high amounts of glutathione or normal amounts of glutathione. So very important for people to realize that if you don't have these 3 amino acids, you will not make enough glutathione. And of course you will get low energy because it has to do with the ATP formation within the cells. And that's your little energy battery in each cell. Now look what glutamic acid does. It's a neurotransmitter, nerves again, in the nervous system, in the vertebrate, meaning those mammals that have backbones. This is important then for nerve transmission.
Well, reptiles, many of them have backbones. I think you have to.
So, yeah, true. So they're vertebrates too. Yeah, like lizards and gators and stuff. So it's not just mammals.
What about the platypus? What do you think that is?
I don't know. You look it up and let me know, because I don't even remember what a platypus looks like. Seems to me he's kind of flat and fishy looking.
Let me make a comment here about glutamic
Sure.
acid. The most common neurotransmitter in the brain is glutamic acid. It's wider spread than anything else. Now, it's important in memory formation and many other functions of the body. However, excessive stimulation of glutamic acid or glutaminergic synapses would lead to excitotoxicity. So the body has these regulatory mechanisms to control excitotoxicity, one of which is an adequate amount of glutathione in order to repump the glutamic acid out of the synapse back into the nerve cells. And so a deficiency in glutathione actually can lead to what's called excitotoxic damage. And this is where you see one of the things that occurs in, say, autism, when they get a stimulus that causes high levels of excitotoxicity and antioxidant depletion, then the glutaminergic system doesn't have its balance point is unbalanced. Glutathione is necessary to neutralize the glutamic acid neurotransmission, and so you wind up with nerve damage. You see this a lot. So if you ever study neurodegenerative disorders, you'll find that glutathione is very important in that process. But that's one of the things that it does to control the excessive stimulation of the nervous system. It's like running an 80-year-old man on a marathon in hot weather. Eventually they're just going to collapse, most of them.
Right.
All right, go ahead.
Well, that's interesting that you bring that up, because I've had people that started using the glutathione patches that were very hyper, and they were leery, in fact, of even using our energy patches for that reason, because they had the misunderstanding that it was going to make them more hyper. And the glutathione patch calmed them down. So this may be why. That may have been what's going on with them. Okay. So cysteine, the last one that's necessary. It is proposed and used actually in alcohol and drug treatment centers to keep people from getting as much liver damage as they could from their overdoses of drugs and alcohol. It is absolutely necessary in the cellular detox mechanism, and again is produced or required in skin, and they are using it in ERs now for Tylenol overdoses, along with glutathione IV treatments for not just Tylenol, but any kind of acetaminophen or ibuprofen type anti-inflammatories.
Koala, because of trademark issues, you should
take that out.
You should change the slide. Yes.
Okay, will do.
And okay, and acetaminophen.
Yeah, will do. Have to be careful, don't we? Okay. It also, of course, is necessary for immune function. So they do now in medicine give cysteine supplements for immune system problems to boost the immune capability of the body. Now, one of the drawbacks of this is you can have serious side effects with oral and IV applications of it. Usually if they are doing a IV cysteine supplement, they will be drawing bloods and keeping an eye on not only liver functions but blood levels of cysteine so that you do not overdose on it. With our technology, we don't have to be concerned with that. Here's some research. You can go up on the internet and find thousands of articles on glutathione, and people are, in the last 5-10 years, doing a lot of research on glutathione. Most of it's in animals, but some now is in humans. And one of the things I thought very interesting about these sites that I found was on this TACA site, which is Talk About Curing Autism site. They have a lot of information about the thimerosal, which is a substance put into vaccinations and flu shots and so on for a preservative, and they're associating it with autism and brain damage. And they feel that glutathione depletion is part of this because they see these kids with mental disorders and hyperactivity, like Dr. Steve mentioned, get better when they give them oral or IV glutathione.
Let me make a comment here.
Oops, excuse me.
Thimerosal is a mercury containing compound. So the issue is you're giving mercury directly into the tissues and accumulates in the brain. Now what happens when you get mercury neurotoxicity, or also those vaccines contain aluminum and squalene, so they also cause these neurotoxic syndromes. So when you start getting a neurotoxic syndrome like this, you have a rapid increase of free radicals in the brain. Your glutathione goes down. Your excitotoxic glutaminergic pathways get highly activated. And what occurs is you get a rapid damage from the free radicals and the excitotoxic, so you damage the cell membranes, the DNA, and the proteins and the enzymes. This is very much like a fire going on in a forest. And if it's very dry, it burns very rapidly. So for kids, when this has occurred, let's say you have a child that has received a vaccine injections, they wind up with very high fevers. They cry, they scream, they're in pain. And what is occurring is they've got a massive free radical problem going on. The reason I'm telling you this is you can do something about it. You start them on high doses of vitamin C. You start every hour if you need to. You start them on lipoic acid. You start them on a little bit of N-acetylcysteine. You start them on an antioxidant spectrum, a little vitamin E. And what can occur is you can stop this fire that's taking place if you can build up the antioxidant protection very rapidly. What happens usually is it's ignored. The doctors give them some acetaminophen, which even worsens the problem to get the fever down. And so they wind up with these basically encephalopathies. And I'm sorry, I'm going to stop here because I can go on for another hour about this. But the issue is, this is very much like a kitchen fire. If you can stop it before it burns the whole house down, you can salvage the person. Now the same thing takes place with individuals when they're exposed to certain pesticides, certain chemicals. You can also, it's not as prominent with many people. They usually just get severe fatigue and headaches. But the same process takes place. It's just less prominent because the nervous system of the child is not fully formed and it's much more sensitive. So I'll stop here.
And the metals are very difficult for the body to get rid of, so they do accumulate and can be found in hair samples and so on. Like Dr. Steve said, are highly associated with neurological damage. I wanted to point out that we are not going word for word through the manual, and there's lots of other information in your manual. We are trying to add extra stuff for you. So one of the things I wanted you to notice is that glutathione is very popular now, especially at least in the Philippines. When I was over there, almost every spa, and there's dozens of them in every mall, have IV glutathione treatments as part of their regime. And over there, they were running about $150 per treatment, and they were recommending 3 or more a week. Here in the U.S., it is also used. It's used by naturopathic physicians and in spas and health resorts. So for sure, check out those places as a possible use of glutathione patches and carnosine patches instead of their IV. Because look at the price difference and then the ease of use. You can only have one person getting that IV treatment or the IV push at a moment, but you can have thousands of people out there using the patches, and the business can be far more profitable using this technology. And from our lab work that we've done, much more high levels of glutathione end up being used or being developed in the body by the body's own mechanisms, because you can see in some of the lab work that we have done, and I'll get into that, our technology, the body responds as it needs to, whereas you're doing an IV push or an IV treatment of glutathione, you will have a very short-lived response. Sometimes within an hour or two, the levels are back down to very low again. So, carnosine, part of our Y-age system. And again, it goes down as we age, just like glutathione does. But it works a little bit different than glutathione, but still in the anti-aging field. It's found mostly in muscles and brain. It is part of the is it the myelin sheath, Dr. Steve, that it is necessary for development of the healthy myelin sheath? It's some part of the nerve.
I'm sorry, in what context are you putting it?
Is carnosine, what part of carnosine, or what part of neurodevelopment is carnosine found in?
That's a good question.
Okay. I know it has to do something, either the myelin sheath or one of the fibers that makes up the myelin sheath, something along that line. Carnosine.
It's involved in protein metabolism. And protein,
okay, then maybe it's the protein
and pH
layer.
Control. I don't remember it being involved in myelin. It may be. I just don't. That doesn't sound. It doesn't strike a chord for me. I will tell you that B12, folic acid, fish oil, phosphatidylserine, phosphatidylcholine.
Ooh, say that fast.
are all involved in myelin sheath formation.
Okay.
So I'll stop there.
Well, for sure, I've used it very, very successfully with burning nerve-type pain. I have patched up people that had pain in feet, for instance, and got the pain gone with the ice wave patch. But the burning part of the pain did not go away until I put a carnosine patch on. And then bang, it was gone.
You can also put their feet in ice water, and that'll decrease it too.
Burning, yes, right, yeah. Because, boy, they do describe it as two different types of pain. A burning pain plus that achy type pain that we're also familiar with.
Well, this is a good point, that you're looking at improved, in my opinion, nerve conduction. And so these two work together, ice wave and the carnosine, or energy patches and carnosine. And this is, we have not studied this yet, but speaking as a neurologist, I've seen so many people with these types of changes occur, when you've seen hundreds of them, and it pretty much indicates to me that there's improving nerve conduction. Now, why it's improving nerve conduction, I don't know yet. Yeah. But I will tell you that that's what you're describing, is improved nerve conduction.
Well, and as you look at these studies, and by the way, I know you guys can't write this fast. You're not expected to remember all this. This all will be up on IceLife. You can certainly go up there and watch this dozens of times and take all the notes you want. Or you can just do your own little internet search like I did and put carnosine/muscles or carnosine/brain. or nerves, and you'll find dozens and dozens of recent studies. Look at this one. First one is shown to retard cancer growth in animal models, and that was a 2010 study.
We don't like to use the word retard anymore. It might be challenged.
Okay, slowed?
Politically incorrect.
Yeah, politically, yeah, really. Well, it might be right on, though, come to think of the brain effects that it has also. It also is found in eye situation, lenses, eye lenses in rats. They found the cloudiness going away with exposure to guanidine, making the cataracts occur, and then carnosine made the cloudiness go away. And then carnosine also improved the actions of autistic children. That was a Journal of Child Neurology study. Whoops, sorry about that. And then it also had protective cerebral ischemia protection in mice. Again, nerve stuff, central nervous system stuff. Journal of Neuroscience Research, and that was in '91. Australian researchers show that it increases the longevity of the human fibroblast cells in the lab, and again, probably in animals. Carnosine also helps to block the accumulation of lactic acid, so a lot of athletes and bodybuilders are using it to cut down on their next day soreness, their buildup of lactic acid that often inhibits them from working out really hard 2 days in a row. I had a man that goes to the gym every single day and pumps a lot of iron, especially for somebody that's in his 70s. He does 300 reps, and he, of course, gets soreness in his muscles. But using the YH patches now, he is not getting any soreness in his muscles, even though he has not decreased his workout at all. I'm asking him to write that up for us, so hopefully Bob will do that for us. It also has been found to extend the Hayflick limit, which is the name of how many times a cell can divide, which is highly related to cellular death and cellular longevity. Do you want to go into that at all, Dr. Steve?
Well, what happens is every time cells divide, the caps on the chromosomes, which are called the telomeres, will shorten. And after about 50 divisions of the cell, the telomeres are so short that the cell can no longer divide. And anything that you can do to improve telomere length is an anti-aging component or compound or approach. The Hayflick limit was researched and shown that the average person's cells divide 50 times in their lifetime. Now what happens is that, and as I've mentioned before, let's say you see an older person that you know quite well, and they're in advanced age but very good health. And then you see them 6 months later and they look like they've aged 5 or 10 years. You can tell right then that person has reached their Hayflick limit. That means the cells are no longer being replaced, and the ones that are there are just dying off slowly or dying off. And so the person will lose 30 or 40, 20, 30, 40% of their muscle mass over a period of 6 months to 18 months and just get scrawny, and they usually will die within a year or two of this, or sometimes they'll hang on longer. But the point is they get very debilitated. And so this is something that is well recognized by physicians. Now the point that Dr. Quila has next is stomach 36 is historically in Chinese acupuncture been stimulated. Primarily they used in acupuncture moxibustion, which is a thermal effect. Now we're using a thermal effect with the patches and the infrared band, which is also thermal, but it's very weak, but it's very specific. So in a sense, we're somewhat similar to moxibustion in stimulation of stomach 36. And this is one of the points that I stimulate regularly, 2, 3, 4 times a week with some of the patches, either glutathione or ice wave or energy patches just for this point of view.
Yeah, people as old as us, you know, we got to do everything we can, Dr. Steve. I also use stomach 36 a lot, and that's because of my acupuncture background. I knew that it was a anti-aging point specifically, as you can see in these references I put here. Okay, so again, carnosine. Uh, the plaque formation that is present with Alzheimer's and other degenerative brain disorders are thought to be formed by the body as a protective mechanism of some sort. Well, carnosine has shown that it is one of the substances the body makes that increases the microvascularization or the blood flow to the brain, which decreases the formation of plaque, or at least holds it off and helps to increase the blood flow in the brain. We have this wonderful picture, as you've seen on our website, showing that two mice born on the same day, brother and sister. Steve thinks that this one here on the right is Mickey, and this one's Minnie. Who knows? But for sure, one of them was fed a diet supplemented with carnosine, and this poor guy didn't get any, and my goodness, look how he's deteriorating. Those are aging effects, and so it translates into a longer lifespan when you have plenty of carnosine in your body. Glutathione, same thing happens with glutathione as we age as happens with carnosine. It decreases. It is the aging factors of skin, especially the wrinkling that occurs, the lack of tone in muscles and skin. Those are all glutathione, lack of glutathione effects. And in one of the very first studies that LifeWave did, they found that the baseline level was a little bit less than 2 on all the study participants. And 24 hours, the average was over 7. A normal, as I recall, was like right in, oh boy, I can't even remember now, Dr. Steve. Can you help me there? Do you remember what the normal glutathione levels were?
Well, on this particular scale, they were like 1,600 to 2,000, if I remember right.
Well, that's what the study results were, but what was the normal in most people? Was it in this area?
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's the average. It was right around 1,800 and 2,000.
Okay.
What I remember, and then it went up. Now each lab has its own scales. Another lab might scale it out at 600 to 900 is normal, and then so you have to go back that way.
Well, in fact, in this study, it was fascinating to see the results, because sometimes the very next day one person's would go up even higher than this, and the next day go way down, and then maybe 2 days later go back up, but not quite as far. In other words, the body was in charge of making however much glutathione it needed on any one particular day. And boy, I sure thought that was fascinating. And then oftentimes we got results that were over the lab's ability to measure. And so they had to just give us the, as I recall, it was greater than 10,000 or something, what the lab work looked like. So our patch definitely raises glutathione levels, and you can see it in the results that we get. With Dr. Sherry Greenberg's study, we measured it from an energy point of view, and we found that we got increased organ function in every single organ. Same with the carnosine. Do you want to say anything, along that line, Dr. Steve?
No, that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and those are up on the website under research. You guys can print them out. You can send them to people who are scientifically minded and maybe want you know, this kind of information. It's very, very impressive. So when
I
are we?
would like to say, well, I'm
Mhm.
sorry,
Go ahead.
the EIS is approved as a medical device in Europe, but not in the United States. For some people who criticize, oh, it's not an approved medical device. Well, if you've ever dealt with the FDA, it's a wonder we've gotten out of the Stone Age uh, as far as any kind of instrumentation. I mean, you know, beyond a bow and arrow, they're pretty much a mystery to them. Anything more complicated than that. And I've worked with the FDA for 18 years, and it's amazing how obtuse they are. But the point is, the EIS machine is certainly, you can look it up on the internet, and they have approvals in Europe extensively. I think Canada also, and Australia, but I remember Europe for sure. And you know, so you know, the issue is, you know, if you want to take a negative position, you can, but it is an approved medical device in Europe.
Okay, so EIS is the name of the machine that she used for these
Right.
studies. Yeah, okay,
Electro-interstitial scan.
got it.
The picture on the right is me last year. Um,
You wish. As you'll see on our website, of course, we have gobs of pictures of athletes, especially those that don't wear much clothes, such as track and field and basketball players wearing patches. This guy, I think, has stripped his off, as many of them do shortly after they're finished playing, and we can then tell who all is using them. But the application is from young people all the way up. People who are very active, like this young girl that is riding horses, probably in some event of some sort, it looks like, from the braids and so on that she has. There's a lot of equine patch use going on across the world, not just here in this country. From the very formal, what is it called, dressage type of horse
dressage. Dressage.
dressage.
Yeah, we're also using them in horses.
We're using what in horses?
Patches.
That's just what I just said.
Well, you used a term called equine. I mean, you know, I'm from South Carolina.
Okay. I thought that
I mean,
was the same thing.
it is. I was just messing with you.
Oh, okay. Got it. This is Dr. Steve here on the right at his 50th wedding anniversary. However, this is not Emily. Don't get mad, Emily. So, a huge range of application of use for these products, right? Performers such as, we even have some opera singers and some pianists and musicians that use it because they are using their brain an awful lot. Any performer actually is. And they have found that when they use the YH system, it improves their brain performance. This young girl's working out here with her patches on her biceps, see there? And this mom here has her head patched for whatever reason, and of course is holding her baby, who probably is getting some effects from that, even though we've not measured that directly. And then, of course, life waivers that play hard and have a good time on cruises, they use them too. So now we're on chapter 24, page 127. We're skipping ahead a little bit to the different explanation of how to use these patches. First of all, follow the brochure instructions. Very, very easy, very powerful points, as you'll see. I'll go through them here in a minute. There's a reason why these patches were chosen, as you will see. So use the brochure in the beginning, and now that you've got the manual, you'll get a little bit more applications, and you can use your creativity and find some other ways to use it, and we'll go through some in the manual training here. Be sure with new people you explain the possible detox effects that they might get. These patches will detox you because they are antioxidants, right? When your body makes glutathione, it is the body's master antioxidant, so it's going to scoot out junk out of your cells. You may feel tired, they may feel thirsty, they may have foul tastes in their mouth, such as metals, because some heavy metals come pouring out, as the LifeWave testing has shown, and they may taste it in their mouth. They may have increased BO, but after that is over, they will definitely feel better in all the cases that I've seen anyway. Check on them frequently. Make sure that they understand the process, and if they get a little headache or they feel crummy, reassure them this is normal, this is actually good, and drink more water, get their bowels moving, do everything they can to facilitate that detox process.
You may have said it, but I didn't hear it. Urine changes can occur where the urine can become very chemical smelling or foul smelling or change in smell.
And bowels can change also, diarrhea or whatever.
If you're not certain whether your urine's changing, you can collect it in a jar and keep it on.
I knew you were going to go down that road.
Get you a month or two supply, you know.
To see if it's changing, right?
To see if it's changing.
Yeah. And of course, dark, smelly urine would be a sign of detox and a need for increased water intake. The use of any of our patches will do some detox. These are the more heavy-duty detox patches, so encourage your people to drink more than they've ever drunk before. So why are those patch suggestions, those placements, on the brochure? Here's why. First of all, they're easy to find and use. And so CV17 is right there in the middle of the chest. It oftentimes is uncomfortable for women because of breast cleavage, kind of rubs and so on. So you can change the position and go up a little bit, up into the upper part of the chest on 18 or 19. And you could also go like right below the breasts on
CV16.
16. Okay. 17, yes, here's what it affects. Of course, any point, this is the rule in acupuncture, any point affects the local area for sure. But even though CV17 is on the chest, it may also affect throat issues. It may have effects on lungs, because gee, look where it is, right over the lung area. And then look at the organs that it specifically affects. Triple burner is on the hand and arm, the meridian, and yet CV17 affects that. Small intestine points are on the arm, and yet CV17 has an effect on it. So it's a powerful point. Liver 3 affects liver, of course, and it affects the foot. So in addition, it'll affect the bowels, the low back area, the knees even, and the head even. It affects vision because liver controls the eyes, and it also might have an effect on urination. So again, very powerful point, and it's used a lot with our patch technology, isn't it? CV6, right down there underneath the belly button. It affects the local area, of course, which is the bowels, but it also affects heart. Who would have thought? The back area, the low back area. So these are powerful points that you can look up on yinyanghouse.com. I'll write, yeah, I'll have.
Go back to that previous slide.
I'll have Lily write down yinyanghouse.com as a resource for you.
All right, move your arrow about 2 inches down and 2 inches to the right so they can see where I'm looking at.
Down in here?
No, you went too far. It's about 2 inches down, 2 inches over.
Okay, I can't see inches on here, so.
All right, well just
direct
go down.
Let me get my marker.
Go about halfway between where the red spot is. Okay, now move it down lower, a little bit lower. All right, right there. Okay, now what you can do is you can take a set of energy patches and you can put the white one on the right side, say where that would be on,
Over here.
yeah, right there, and a tan one on the left side at that spot. And this can be used for people with menstrual discomfort. And that's a very good spot. Or you can put a glutathione patch on the right side and a carnosine on the left side in the same place.
And you can use them together. Yep.
Right. And this is something we've had some success with people that have difficult menstrual problems and as well as hot flashes. Sometimes this is a point that you may want to use. It's about 2 inches below CV6 and 2 inches to the right or 2 inches to the left. And it's, I don't know what point it is, but it's someplace that's been discovered. Now also, you can put energy patches in that place, and some men will have improved performance. Let's just leave it there.
Also, since it affects the whole pelvis area, it might, in addition to performance issues for men, have some effect on prostate balance.
Right. Now another thing you can do is put a white patch, say, on CV6 and go to the back of the body over the sacrum and put a tan patch. And that's if you're dealing with pelvic issues or sacral issues or prostate issues or, you know, the uterine issues. So these points here are very powerful on side to side as well as front to back.
And also low bowel, because the bowels are all in here. The large intestine is in here. As long as we're going for placements of glutathione and carnosine, if you were going to do what Dr. Steve just suggested, put a glutathione on the front and the carnosine on the back, and that will kind of act like a positive and the carnosine on the back being a negative, and you will get an effect right through the body. Okay, let's see, I can't use that for a pointer. All right, CV22 is another suggested placement for glutathione and carnosine. This is a very, again, powerful point that's called the cough point in acupuncture vernacular. It affects, of course, the local area, which includes the thyroid, the voice, speech issues, people who have developed speech impairments or impedance of some sort, and it also then has an effect on the whole CV channel all the way down to some extent.
And that's right about where the thymus gland is.
Yeah, just
so
above
there,
it. Yep.
A little bit lower, you would hit the thymus gland, and I think that might be a good point for immune support.
Yeah, for sure.
That CV22 and maybe CV21 would be good places because you're right over the thymus, which is important in your immune system.
Good point. LI4 is the other point that's suggested for use with the Y age. I find it a little bit awkward because I use my hands so much, but if you put it on real good with nice clean skin, it often will stay all day even though you're using your hand. It is a very powerful point that has an effect on the front of the face and throat and head. So frontal headaches and so on are often helped. And most headaches are detox issues or toxin issues.
Well, many are, not most.
And so you can put a glutathione patch right there.
Now let's stay on this point for a second. Headaches, as a neurologist, this is a point we used to do stimulation in my clinic with acupuncture and electro needles as well as regular needles or electroacupuncture. Works for headaches. It works great for many headaches with patches. Now, would you touch a red dot higher for me? I'm going to go another place.
Okay. Where do you want to go?
On the forearm. A little higher.
Large intestine 11.
Yeah, that's one point. Go a little bit lower. Right, too far over, to the left a little bit. Just a little, just right there. That if you'll put your finger on your forearm and push about the line where the angle between the fourth finger and the third finger is, you should find a very sore spot. I don't know what name of that point is. I'm not an acupuncturist. Carla might know. The point is that is a really good place also to try for pain and headaches. So about where she's got the red mark, just go up, follow the angle between your fourth finger and your third finger, straight up your arm. If your hand's flat on the table, and then somewhere up close to your elbow, or your elbow crease, about 1 to 2, 3 inches, most depending on how tall you are, about 1.5, 2 inches, you should hit a really sore spot. You should try that, check it. Remember that point when you're working with people with pain, upper body pain, headaches. That's a great spot to try, along with, say, kidney 1, if you're doing dual patching, or you're doing headache treatment. You could just put a set of patches on both sides on that point. But that's one of the premier spots for headaches.
It's probably triple burner 9-ish, Dr. Steve, from your description of where, and even as you were talking, I went and felt there, and sure enough, it is tender. And so triple burner 9, I think, is what you're talking about. And
I think it's actually higher than that.
Is it?
Yeah, but it's somewhere between, say, triple burner 9.
Well, 10 is up on the elbow area.
It would be like maybe 9.5.
Yeah, right. Then it could be, let's see, it could be then large intestine too. But if you notice, triple burner meridian goes all the way up into the head. And that may very well be why you're finding that it's helpful. Okay.
Right. I mean, it's definitely a point there. I don't know if it's marked on the acupuncture chart. At least the one I have, it seems it's a little higher than triple burner 9, but it might be close to that. The point is you can feel it by palpation, and it's almost always sore. So that's actually a good place to stimulate.
Well, and that brings up a good point, that any place that's sore is technically a blockage in energy. And the beauty of this patch technology is, instead of having to put a needle in like an acupuncturist would, you can set the patches right there temporarily or tape them for a minute or so, see if you get any relief, especially if you're going after pain. You will either get relief, it's the right place, or you can move them so easily. Play around with it. Find those sore spots and patch them.
And if you're really lazy and you don't want to do that, you can just drop a brick on your foot and then put the patches over there, so then you don't have to worry about looking for sore spots.
On top of the brick, or?
Yeah.
Okay, real quickly, caution here. LifeWave does not encourage people to use the products in pregnancy for obvious reasons. If something goes wrong in labor or in the pregnancy at all, there's no way LifeWave could ever defend themselves in court against something like that. So they just won't go there. They're not recommended. However, I have lots of people that I know that have used them. I would not hesitate to use them as an acupuncturist because they do not have the same effect as a needle does, because a needle forces the body to do something. The patches only offer a message to the body to do something. And we have lots of testimonies on people having used them, pregnancy, labor, and postpartum. Okay, let's move on to page 55 and the silent night patches.
And Dr. Carla, just a quick note, we have about 5 minutes to 7 if you want to pause for a break.
We could, since we're at a break here. People who do not want to stop and want to keep going, maybe raise your hand so Lily can see how many. Those who want to take a break, just don't raise your hand.
So raise your hand if you do want to break.
Yeah.
And I only see 1, 2. I only see 3 hands up out of 12 so far.
Well, it may be those people have been drinking lots of water like they're supposed to and need to go.
Do you want to take a quick 4 minutes?
Yeah, we'll just
Okay.
take a 4 or 5 minute. Be right back. Found in a lot of people who have addiction problems, either an excess or a deficiency. It also is found in people to be imbalanced if they are very anxious, have things like OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, those kinds of things. People who are fried nerve-wise often have serotonin imbalances. And of course, sleep disturbances. People with sleep disturbances almost always have either too much serotonin or nowhere near enough, or their melatonin is off. Melatonin is the other hormone that the patch gives the body the signal to use if it needs to. And again, it is one of those hormones made in the brain, and this in particular is very affected by light. And if people are working shifts, this kind of messes up their serotonin, melatonin levels, and they often have sleep problems as a result. They need to make sure that when they're sleeping in the daytime that they have a totally black room, as everyone should actually. No night lights, no hall lights that will interfere with the body's ability to especially make decent amounts of melatonin at the right time. Our bodies are animal bodies, and we are not nocturnal. So as the evening comes along, you'll find the levels of serotonin go down and the levels of melatonin go up if you are balanced and things are working correctly. So oftentimes when people have sleep problems, it's because these two hormones are messed up. You either have too much serotonin and you can't turn it off because you're using all the artificial lights, and you have the TV on when you go to sleep, bad habit to get into, that will keep melatonin from kicking in and helping you sleep. Any comments there, Dr. Steve?
Yes, it's not well known, but melatonin is the stimulus to release melanocyte stimulating hormone. And melanin is the pigment of your skin. Well, it not only serves as a protection against UV light, it also has electrical activity in the body. So proper melanin synthesis is important, and melatonin is involved in that process, and that helps improve the electrical properties of the skin.
Interesting. Then, of course, this SAD, or seasonal affective disorder, where people do not get enough sunlight stimulation on their skin, might be connected to also then the imbalance of melatonin due to the extended length of the darkness in the northern hemispheres, high northern hemispheres. That might all go together then, huh?
Yeah, I want to make a comment about artificial lighting. If you're using fluorescent bulbs, take them out because they have mercury in them to start with. Number one, but you want to use what's called full spectrum lighting. You can get those at many stores, like in the United States, Home Depot sells them. Full spectrum fluorescent bulbs if you're using fluorescent light. The reason is it affects your immune system. And so it also affects your depression, and it actually suppresses many of the neurological functions of the body when you're under artificial lighting. So if you can, change out your fluorescent lighting to full spectrum bulbs, and many people will feel better just with that.
I know some hospitals have done that at the insistence of the employees because, of course, as a typical office type situation in the hospitals. The people working in the various departments are under fluorescence all day long, all night long. And they know this information that Dr. Steve just related, and they insisted on management changing the bulbs to those full spectrum. You buy them in the same places that you buy regular fluorescent bulbs. In fact, they're even in the gardening section because they are the full spectrum you use for plant growing inside also. So the Silent Night patch gives the message to balance melatonin, serotonin, and of course both of these hormones are connected to all the other hormones of the body, especially those in the brain, and the inability to sleep and repair your cells, because it's the only time you repair is when you're sleeping, contributes to the onset and progression of disease. So it's not just about feeling great when you wake up or not. It's also about staying healthy. We are also hearing from some people using Silent Nights that the doctor is surprised now because the prostate swelling has gone down, and the person's relating to us, gosh, I don't have to get up 4 or 5 times a night to use the bathroom anymore. So our research into that shows that, number one, all the hormones are related and interactive. There's feedback mechanisms, but it especially affects the estrogen and different types of estrogen. There's about, 5 or 10 different types of estrogen. And this has an effect on not only prostate health, but also female sexual organ health. So it's more than just getting a good night's sleep. It's also about staying healthy. Any comments there, Dr. Steve?
Well,
No?
melatonin is actually a very powerful antioxidant. So it is one of the most powerful antioxidants in the body on the level of importance with glutathione. So that's why you actually see some changes with the Silent Nights patch. I think we probably don't use enough Silent Nights patches for the benefits that they get.
Yeah.
Because all we've done is talk about the improvement in sleep, but the other issue is making too many claims. So just recognize, if you look up melatonin and antioxidants on the web, you'll find thousands of articles about the benefits of melatonin as an antioxidant. So it's another anti-aging patch in a sense, because it gives another additional level of antioxidant protection through a different mechanism.
And we have so many people that say, oh, I don't need the Silent Night patch, say they're enrolling to become a member, and they're looking at what package they want, and they say, oh, this one has the sleep patch. No, I don't need that. I sleep fine. I always encourage them to try it, because I sure thought I was sleeping just fine until I started using the patch. And I found out, no way. I slept so much better, felt so much better in the morning. And when I looked into what melatonin, serotonin does, like Dr. Steve says, it has multiple healthy uses in the body. So it's not just about sleep, although that's very important. Now, LifeWave is recommending the single use of the sleep patch. In the old days, they recommended that you take only half of the paper backing off and use it one night, set it aside during the day, take the other half of the paper off the next day or night, and use it so that you have retained the goodness of the the adhesive. But now they're, for obvious reasons of safety, they are recommending the single use of the patch. I still take my patch, and I do take the paper off, but I'm well aware of the possible repercussions of putting my own germs back on myself every night. And that's another reason to rotate the patches to different spots. I also know people who tape them back on different points. We found over the years, too, that carnosine can be used with silent nights, and it often enhances the effect, it seems. Carnosine itself is very sedative, and so it can help people with real serious sleep issues get better use of the sleep patch.
You can try something called stacking if you want to, where you put a silent night patch and you put a carnosine patch on top of the silent night patch.
Exactly. Yep. Good point. Or you can put it on another point on the right side of the body, whichever works for you. Yeah.
Such as the gallbladder points.
Yeah, and we're going to go through some of those. Gallbladder is involved highly often with sleep issues. That phenomena where you're laying in bed and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't do that today. Oh yeah, got that done. Oh, tomorrow what do I have to do? And you just can't stop that mind from whirring around in the skull. That is called busy mind in acupuncture, and that is a heart gallbladder imbalance. So those two are why whoever, David, I'm sure, had a decision-making point in this of choosing the points that are in the brochure for the use of the Silent Night patch. If you want to, go into page 245 at some other time and look up 5-element concepts of fire, water, and wood, and you will see some relationship here to what we're talking about with gallbladder and so on. I didn't go through all of the points on the sleep patch because it is, again, in the brochure, and they're all very important points. A lot of them for insomnia and famous acupuncture points for sleep issues. So now, SP6 Complete. You can go to sp6complete.com and you can see the ingredients and exactly what's in it. We're mainly only going to deal with the patches tonight. It's just too long and complex of a subject to go into all of this stuff, but you can get more information on sp6complete.com. Do you have something to say?
Yeah, Dr. Carla, before you move on, I had a question on silent nights here.
Oh, okay.
Someone is asking, could silent nights be used against high blood pressure in the morning? I don't know how we want to address that.
Well, you certainly could try it. That's, again, the beauty of this technology is if it's going to work, it's probably going to work fairly rapidly, and you certainly could put a silent night patch on a particular point that in acupuncture is famous for affecting blood pressure. Try it and see.
Well, let me make a statement here. This is an issue with a disclaimer. Is regulatory bodies around the world, FDA, European Union, the TGA in Australia, and Health Canada, in Canada, of course, basically forbid over-the-counter product companies from making claims that they can treat an illness. So I want to caution that we really can't answer that and say it's going to help high blood pressure. We can say that, you know, like Quila said, try it and see how you feel, but that's really as far as we can go legally, and I don't want it to violate those rules because it's very important that we stay within the regulations. But you know, I know these are very important questions and they make sense to each person, but you know, all I can say is I would basically try the patch and see whether you get the benefit you desire.
Okay, thanks. So again, this is a complex system of meal replacement, very concentrated berry drink, 2 detox tablet formulations, and the patches. So again, we're going to mainly talk about the patches today because it is such a long, complicated thing to go into all of it. And some of it is in your manual, and then sp6complete.com. So appetite and weight loss are very complex issues for people. What causes one person to be overweight will not work on the next person. This patch is unique because it is green, and it is a left-sided patch. So when you get them, pay attention to the instructions in the brochure, and there is lots of real nice manuals and charts to go along with it. The patch itself is designed to offer the body a message that says regulate energy production, but it is done differently than the message in the energy patch. It may help to control blood sugar levels, probably because of the way you may end up eating, but energy production, of course, does have to do somewhat with blood sugar levels. So if you have any kind of blood sugar imbalance, for sure keep an eye on it when you're using this patch. It helps to suppress appetite and block fat storage. I found it very helpful for cravings and for getting fuller faster. Lots of people have reported to me, yeah, I notice that if I take my time and I go very slowly eating, boy, I notice I don't want that second helping. In fact, I can't even finish what I loaded on my plate. And that's one of the key things to help you lose weight, is to watch how you eat. In the instructions with the patch, there is a nice diary that will help you put down what you ate, what time you ate, what cravings you may have had or not, and what you felt like with the patch on that day, so that you can compare and you can start to watch and delve deep inside you. Why is it that I cannot sit down to watch TV without a large bag of potato chips or pretzels and 3 beers or whatever, you know? And that will help you understand your eating habits, especially when it goes to emotions. Because sometimes we eat just simply because we're bored, angry, maybe sad and depressed, and food has always been a comfort food in most societies. So these are the wonderful things about the paperwork that does come with the SP6 complete system. Now, what we've done is, with the SP6 patch, it is a left patch, so it's encouraged to, you are encouraged to use the glutathione patch on the right side in the same location. So if SP6 down on the inner side of the leg above the ankle is where you're putting your patch, then you might want to put a glutathione patch on the right side. So in other words, the glutathione patch is primarily considered a positive patch, and the SP6 is primarily considered a negative. Now, you can use carnosine on another day on that same point that you put your SP6 complete patch. Say it's on stomach 36 that day. You can put carnosine on the right-hand side and put your SP6 complete patch on the left. Or you can stack them like Dr. Steve talked about a minute ago. You can put carnosine on top of the green SP6 patch and put the glutathione patch on the right. Or you can use, here we go, another possibility, use a white energy or ice wave, because they're both the same. On the right, say SP6 point, and the green SP6 patch on the left. So hopefully that's not too confusing to you. Be sure to ask a question if you have anything about this.
You need to make a note you spelled glutathione wrong on this.
Oh, I sure did, didn't I?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
No T in there. Okay, so where is it recommended that we use the SP6 patch? On the SP6 point, for one thing. write myself a note here. And why do we want to use it? Wow, is it a powerful spot. It has 3 meridian effects: spleen, kidney, and liver. And so, gosh, spleen is part of your digestive system. Its paired organ is stomach. That certainly has to do with digestion. Liver has to do with digestion because of the enzymes and bile and so on that are formed there in liver, so it's part of your digestive system. And then also it has an effect on taste, and it's one of the most effective patch placements for affecting people's desire for the wrong kinds of food. And it's real easy to find. It's 4 fingers above the ankle bone, and it's always sore. Try it right now, everybody. Anybody can't find it? Let us know. We'll walk you through it. Now, why do you want to use then stomach 36 also? Well, number one, it's paired with spleen. It's a sister organ in the acupuncture system. And it has, remember, the anti-aging effects that we talked about? Well, it also has appetite and digestion effects. And it's easy to find. So let's have everybody try this. Put your right hand over your right kneecap with your leg just slightly bent. Let your middle finger go down the shin bone and spread your fingers loosely, and where your ring finger falls, that's stomach 36. Anybody have trouble with that? Any comments there, Lily?
Don't see any.
Okay, super. If so, just let us know and we'll go over it at the end. I think we'll have plenty of time. Kidney 3 is suggested as a point to use for the SP6 complete patch. It's very easy to find and wear because it's in between the ankle bone and the Achilles tendon. And kidney is probably in acupuncture the most powerful meridian in the body. It contains or has an effect on both the yin and the yang, or the positive and the negative, if you will, energies of the body. And when it is low, when kidney energy is low, it can affect fire, because after all, kidney's a water element, and you're going to learn all this as we go on. And water puts out fire, doesn't it? Fire is often excess when you have cravings for especially sugars and the wrong kinds of food. We're going to go into 5-element theory later in the book, and you can look it up if you want after this class. Page 230 goes into that, and you'll see how spleen and stomach are so important in that aiming towards your weight situation, whether or not you want to lose weight or gain weight. Do you want to make a comment about the people who are so skinny that they can't gain weight and the SP6 patch?
Yeah, they need to eat more.
And often it is a metabolic imbalance, isn't it?
Well, there's different reasons. I mean, some people's genetic status is such that they're very fast metabolizers, and so some people can eat just massive amounts of food, never seem to gain weight.
Yeah.
Other people can eat a 1,200 calorie diet and just steadily gain weight. So
yeah, right.
There's so many factors involved in weight gain, it's impossible to delineate and say this is the one factor for everybody. But the simplest thing is weight gain occurs when your calorie intake is greater than your calorie burn. So what you want to do is you want to some degree, increase your metabolic rate as much as possible with normal and healthy mechanisms. That is the best way to lose weight. In addition, adding an exercise program to it. The SP6 patch is simply designed to help reduce the active appetite that many people have, and that's where the difficulty is. So if you can control the excessive appetite, then other factors take place, such as increasing your exercise. Simply walking for 30 minutes a day will lose you 15 to 35 pounds a year.
Okay, now one of the other uses that we found for the SP6 patch was the addition of using it on what's commonly called the stop smoking point in acupuncture. You can go up online and find the stop smoking point. It's pretty easy to find. Here's a picture of it on a model. It is found in between large intestine 5 and lung 7. And you can see those 2 points highlighted there on the man that I put together here. It is 2 different drawings. He ended up kind of looking funny when I put them together. But on the left and right, they are bilateral, of course, as all points are on the hands and legs and other sides of the body. If you have a point on one side, you have it on the other. So what we do is we put the SP6 patch on the left stop smoking point, and we put either a glutathione or, in those other choices we gave you, white energy or ice wave patch, or a carnosine patch on the right. The patches are pretty big, so if you put the edge of the patch on the wrist crease, you will be on the point, and it's on the point or on the angle of the arm, where if you go to shake hands with somebody, your thumb is up in the air. It's on that angle. It's not the back, and it's not the palm side. It's on the side of the thumb.
Isn't this called the snuff box?
Li5 is.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and how you find that on most people is spread your hands really far, and you'll find an indentation coming up on your hand, straight down from your first finger, and that's considered the snuff box, and that was traditionally where in the old days they used a touch of snuff, which is it tobacco? Is that what snuff is? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm sure you're quite familiar with it, so that's why I'm asking you. And they would sniff it up into their nose. Sounds quite tasteful to me. Okay, here's the logs I was talking about. And you can see them on your pages 240 to 242 in your manual. And some people have taken and copied them and given them to either other members or clients of theirs that are working on losing weight or changing their dietary habits. Very, very useful charts. Okay, here's some resources. I'll leave this up while we maybe look at questions, Lily, because I'm about done.
Nope, I don't see any here.
Okay. Any comments you guys have?
No comments up here. If anybody wants to put their hand up, though, I can unmute them. I've got a couple hands up. They might be from before, though.
Okay, here's a comment under the chat. Is that Dr. Karen?
That's Dr. Karen, and she's chatted. That's the whole audience there.
Okay, good. She sent it to him. Okay, great. Thanks, Dr. Karen. She doesn't have a mic tonight for some reason, so.
And
She's
for anybody who
gonna be one
hasn't
of
seen
your-
that. Sorry, go ahead, Dr. Pfeiler.
She's going to be one of our trainers here too, presenters in one of the classes. So she'll be coming up here in the next few weeks.
I have been teaching her how to ice skate. She's coming along quite well.
And I'll just read this comment out for those of you who missed your chat box there. She says, as someone who has had adrenal fatigue and who treats many patients with adrenal fatigue/exhaustion, I can attest that using the SP6 Complete works even better while simultaneously using the energy enhancer patches.
Wonderful. Who would have thought, huh? And you know, that's the beauty of this LifeWave community all over the world. We're sharing these kinds of tips and hints in forums like this, on lifewavecalls@gmail.com. I should have put that down. Maybe I'll put that there in the chat.
Okay. And anybody else, again, if you have a question, go ahead and put your hand up. I see a hand up here, and again, this might be from before. So I'm going to unmute him and see if someone's there. And this is Dr. Suatanto.
Okay.
Hi, Dr. Suatanto, you're unmuted. Go ahead. Okay.
I heard him.
Hi, are you there?
Did you want to say something? No. Okay.
No, thank you. Sorry.
Sure.
No, maybe I accidentally pressed the.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Those little buttons apparently are very easy.
And we've got one more here. This is Tammy Bushy, and this may be the same thing, but let's try her out.
Okay, Tammy.
Tammy,
you're on.
Hi, Tammy. You're unmuted. Did you have a question, or is your hand up by accident there?
Nope, I'm done.
Okay, great. Okay, Dr. Coyle, I don't see any other comments or questions there. So.
Well, we hope everybody enjoyed this seminar. Of course, I have a odd sense of humor, so I apologize if I offended anybody, but I try to have a little fun when I'm working.
Yeah, for sure. And he keeps us light and jovial, too. Oh, Dr. Karen says she almost landed her axle jump today. Way to go, girl. She's working on that diligently, huh? Keep us posted. Maybe you're going to have to double patch or triple patch.
If she'll put some wheels on that axle, it'll be more stable.
That's what axles are for, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, the next class is obviously next Thursday, and it will be back to Dr. Dean's presentation, which I think is energy and ice wave, maybe? Is that
Yep,
it?
you got it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we also have a class on Mondays. Do they get both Mondays and Thursdays, and they let them choose which one they go to?
Right, Dr. Steve. People have the option to register for both sessions, and you can attend both of them if you want. It's the same content. Of course, this week it wasn't, but this is the only week where that'll be the case. But if you need,
it'll be next week too, because I'm going to do Monday.
Right.
And Dr.
Right, exactly.
Dean will do Thursday.
But if you do want to register for both sessions, you do have that option. So if you need that link, just send an email to training@lifewave.com, and we'll send you the link for the other session. But you did get that in the initial email.
Oh, and how about the replay link too?
Right. We've sent
them.
that out the past few weeks, but I can chat it right now to you guys. And you could please just go ahead and save this link, add it to your favorites, bookmark it, whatever you want to do to get back to it. But the sessions will all be uploaded to this same page. So you can check back here. Within 24 hours, we'll have the recording up for you. And I will send that right now. So if you check your chat, you'll find it. You'll find it there.
Give him a few minutes here. Dr. Karen said that she was triple patched today. 6 patches, yeah, triple patch. Way to go. If nobody's ever seen her skate, you can go to her website, right, Dr. Karen?
Yeah, I think she might have, I think her mic's not working, but.
It's gone.
Facebook.
Yeah.
She said Facebook.
Facebook, yeah. Yeah, she's got some pictures and some videos up there. Yep.
I'm starting a
Okay.
website called Face Magazine, so if you want to join it.
I'll be your first friend, Dr. Steve.
Instead of Facebook. Well, magazines are shorter and quicker to read, aren't they?
Yeah, it's only going to allow you to have one picture on it.
Good idea. Okay, well, I guess if there's no more, we'll be finished for tonight.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay,
Thanks,
Dirk
everybody.
Liked your humor, Dr. Steve.
Thanks, Dr.
Okay.
Steve. Thanks, Dr. Quila.
Sure, thanks, Lily. Bye-bye.
And thanks, Dr. Karen.